Good evening, everyone. I am CA Kaushik Raghunandan, a member of Direct Tax Committee, and it is my privilege to serve as a coordinator for this session. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this insightful session organized by Karnataka State Chartered Accountant Association. We are honored to have such a distinguished gathering of professionals eager to expand their knowledge and engage in meaningful discussions. Before we begin, I would like to extend my gratitude to our esteemed leadership. CA Vijaykumar Patel, President of KSCAA, for his continuous support and vision. CA Praveen S. Shettar, our dedicated secretary, whose efforts make events like this possible. CA Deepak Chopra, Chairperson of Direct Tax Committee, for curating this session. We are delighted to have with us Mr. Narahari Nava Kanth, an expert in income tax representation, with us today. Today, he'll be sharing his valuable insights on the topic navigating TDS compliances, shedding light on key aspects that impact our practice and addressing queries that are crucial for us as professionals. Mr. Narahari Navakanth is a chartered accountant with 14 years of experience. He holds a Bachelor of Commerce degree with Osmania University and is currently pursuing an LLB. Since 2012, he has been serving as a director at Guru Anjana Chartered Accountants, specializing in income tax representations. His expertise includes handling income tax scrutiny assessments, reassessments, rectifications, revision proceedings, refunds, appeals, and startup recognition. In addition to his professional practice, Mr. Narahari has a passion for teaching and has given his coaching to CA students and BCom graduates at Trisha Academy. He is also a sought after speaker at various forums, including ICI, VCAT, and others. Committed to social service, he actively contributes as a board member for multiple Vasvi Temple Trusts. So, without any further ado, let us welcome Narahari Navkant to this session. Over to you, Navkant. Thank you.
Thanks, Kaushik, for the introduction. At the outset, I'll say thank you to KSCA for giving me this opportunity to share my limited knowledge in the field of TDS navigating. I'll just share my presentation. Hope able to see the screen, and am I audible? Yeah. Today the TDS has become very tedious aspect. Just to simplify, I just made it into the various aspects, like what is the TDS compliance? We'll understand today's topic. And then what are the notices we can expect from the income tax department by filing the TDS compliance system? After that, we are going to cover the Form 26 QB. There I can see a lot of challenges if the two buyers and two sellers and more than 50 lakhs, less than 50 lakhs, stamp duty is exceeding 50 lakhs. After that, I am going to cover the various corrections in the online and offline mode. And there are various topics it's going to cover. And the last but not least, I'm going to cover on the what is the updates made in the Finance Act 2024. And either way, tomorrow or day after, we are going to get 2025 Finance Act, but at least the last amendments which is going to affect in the next financial year. And this is help for the completing the 24-25 tax audits. My plan is first we'll go with the each topic and then question and answer, and then go to the next topic and then to discuss on the second other topics. I think, is that okay, or we'll take the Q&A in the last?
No, that's absolutely fine. I think we can go with that.
Yeah, thank you. The main objective of the TDS, as we know from the day one when we are preparing for CA and as we are doing, it is a concept of pay as you earn. And then it's a main source of revenue to the government of India. And more information about each transactions. Like every year there is amendments and they're going to introduce new sections to the Income Tax Act. Recently, they've added 194IA and then 194IB, 194M and 194N. It's nothing but income tax department is gathering more information about all the transactions so that there is no chance of escapement of income. And this is either way going to reflect in our assessee's Form 26A as well as TIS. And then complaints from the tax deductor and reduced chance of tax evasion. And next, either way, it is a professional work as well. Paid or credited, what does it mean? And many of the transactions, what we can see, it is like paid or credited, whichever is earlier. But there are only a certain transactions, like in the salary, actual transfer. When I'm actual transferring of the funds to my employee, at that time I should comply to the TDS. Assume employee has taken advance of salary. For the current year salary, as well as advance salary, I should comply. But in other cases, any amount paid or credited, whichever is earlier. So when, as and when I record in the transaction in the books of accounts or actual payment, whichever is earlier. And there are various sections. It is talking about section 192, 194C, 194H, 194I, 194J. This I'm not going to cover. And disclaimer over here, I'm not going to cover which transaction is going to cover under what is the rate of TDS is applicable, NRI transactions and 206 TCS transactions. So we are completely doing only on the TDS. Yes. Who needs to file the tax TDS returns? As we know, every employer and contractors, financial institutions, they should comply wherever they are deducting the TDS. I should go and comply with the TDS provisions and file the ETDS returns so that the service provider, service recipient will get the TDS credits. But there are some transactions where even though I'm not an organization, even I'm not a financial institution, I'm not an employer, even though I should comply with the TDS return filing. These are nothing but 184IA. Where it is like immovable property purchase more than 50 lakhs, I should go and pay the taxes, comply the TDS returns. And 194IB, it's like rent. If any tenant is employee is paying rent more than 50,000 in a month, I should comply to the TDS returns. And 194M, the payment exceeding 50 lakhs towards contract or professional fees or commission, brokerage, etc. So earlier, we were thinking only the organizations or financial institutions used to comply with the TDS provision. Now the compliance mechanism is increased and it is moved to even individuals as well. And TDS compliance. Once I deducted the TDS, my responsibility to comply to the filing the TDS returns. So these are the, just I'll complete this. Each quarter, 31st of July and 15th of July for the TCS return, Q2, 31st October and 15th October, and Q4, 31st May and 15th May, until unless there is any written CBDT instructions to extension of the timeline. Otherwise, this is as per the Act specifying. And ETDS and this TCS return filing, there are various forms as we are aware to the Form 24Q, 26Q for the other than salary, and 27 in case of non-residents, and Form 26QB immovable transactions. I think this is going to be a very hot topic. Everybody is facing the issue with respect to this. And Form 26QC, it is a challan statement where 194IB against to the renting of property, and TCS returns, Form 27EQ. So I have deducted the TDS, I filed the returns, then I should provide the challans, returns. That is called the Form 16 as well as 16A, 27D, and 16B and 16C. Either way, this PPT is going to share all the participants. We can see that. This is how the TDS compliance. Deductor will do the transaction under any transactions made with the payee. He should comply to the TDS, remittance of the TDS in subsequent month 7th. And in the case of March, it is the due date is 30th April. and filing of the ETDS returns and issuance of the relevant of forms, Form 16, 16A and 16C, 16B, etc. And for filing the ETDS returns, it is general information about the details of the deduction, name of the deductee, PAN, details of the transaction, date of deduction, amount paid, amount TDS. And there are challan for payment of TDS and list of deductees. But only first we need to see whether the particular transaction, whether that PAN is a valid or invalid. That is our responsibility to cross-check before entering into filing the ETDS returns. This point I just wanted to highlight. And flow of e-filing returns. This either way it is only just information. And one more complaints along with the TDS returns is the class 34. And to discuss only on the class 34, it requires one full session. But here it is only why I just wanted to bring it. It's first we are thinking what is the compliances. Under the compliances, I am deducting the TDS, filing the ETDS return, and giving the TDS credits to the deductees. But at the same time, as an auditor, I wanted to see class 34A reporting as well. So just to give the brief, what is the transaction made by the assessee during that year? So this is a compliance. Until unless I'm reporting here clause 34 and where it is going to help in the tax computation, whether any expenses which in deductions is not made, whether the same expenses are disallowed in the tax audit report or not, tax computation, sorry. So in the tax computation, whether it is disallowed or not. So to just cross-check that mechanism, this is going to help. Yes. After that, if I've deducted, I've not filed the return, or I've not deducted, I've not remitted to the government account. What is? So there is a mandatory interest on late filing fees. I have deducted but not remitted. And I have deducted, have not even deducted. In those cases, it is 1% per month or part thereof. Assume the transaction is due to deduct today. I've deducted it today. And then 201 1A and 2. Here I've deducted the TDS but not deposited to the central government account. In that case, 1.5% per month and part thereof. Yes, after that, I'll file the ET. I've deducted, remitted along with the interest, but still there is one more. It's a late filing fees. Every ETDS return, we saw the due dates. Let us say for the Q3, 31st January is the due date. Instead of filing on 31st January, I'm going to file it in 28 October. So in those cases, 200 rupees per day of 234E late filing fees can be levied under 234E. But there is a restriction. This entire liability cannot exceed total TDS liability. But systems are generating without verifying some transactions. There are no transactions at all, no TDS liability, but still they're levying that 234E. In those cases, you just need to submit to the covering letter to the department stating that there are no transactions, and according to the department will nullify. So visa one is interest and late filing fee. Still, is there any penalty? Yes, there is a penalty. It's not a mandatory penalty, it is may. The jurisdictional assessing officer has the power to levy per 10,000 rupees or maximum of 1 lakh delay in filing the returns. Yes, for this, is there any exceptions? So department may not, it is only a may. So in that case, it is only an option of the assessing officer. In those cases, yes, taxpayer has deducted the TDS and remitted to the central government account, and late filing also is paid, and TDS and TCS returns is furnished. In those cases, department jurisdictional assessing officer has the power to drop these penalty proceedings. Till now, we did not see any penalty proceedings in this aspect, only the 234F we can see day in, day out. But the reason is entire thing, now the proceedings has become online and we are seeing too many notices. So I'm expecting at one fine day, we may expect 271H notices also come into picture. So just be careful while complying. Yeah, this is only about with respect to compliance part. Because I don't want to take much time. There are many notices issued by the department and other rectification areas wanted to cover. I think we can go to the next topic, like notices, various notices issued by the department on the complaints. Various notices issued by the department. As we can see, the more and more information as you are complying and more information when you are sharing to the department, it's a information. At the point of time, you can't hide any of the transaction. So the department has handful of information. And there are instances I can share like last year, this financial year, after filing the ETDS returns for the Q4. There we can see there are n number of notices stating that e-verification notices. So this notice will not shoot it to you through email and it will go and sit into your reporting portal. But what is the basis of that? So the basis of that, the deductor has filed the ETDS returns stating that some X has made a transaction and this is the TDS. This is the amount. That's all. Unfortunately, the funniest part is the other party is created liability on a provision basis. There is no actual invoice. And that party has already reported because the provision for the professional charges 10 lakh and he has reported that back. And as a recipient, since I have not raised any invoice, he just booked the transaction. So I have not offered into my income tax return while filing the ETDS return. When I'm filing my income tax return, I should go for the TIS. I should do the AIS information. I should do the 26AS reconciliation. While doing, I just got to know ABC Limited has professional charges. There is a feedback mechanism in the 26AS. Just to click on the TDS on the portal, I can give feedback. There are set of questions, means set of answers I can say instead of. So there I can give my responses. In that responses, I can tell this income is not relating to my one option. This income is not relating to current year, hence not claimed. And this income is already offered in the previous year, hence it is not relating to. So the moment he submitted that stating that it is not my income, and the one more notice has gone to the deductor. The deductor has received the notice. Your deductee has submitted this response stating that it is not his income. Can you just submit, correct, to correct your ETDS returns and submit? That's all. So how it looks. This is how it looks. This company name, time, date, DIN. And this is relating to 23-24 financial year, 31st January 2025. So they're asking, as I said in my example, like professional charges, it is either rather than the salary return. So there is a provision for the audit fee, the very diligent client. On the provision also has completed the TDS. So that has come and set into auditor 26 days. While filing his tax return, auditor has seen it's 26 days and he has complied that it is not relating to current financial year. So he has got it. Now again, after submission, I should go to the reporting portal. There they've given the clear steps, whether you accept, reject, or whether it is any corrections to be filed. In majority of the cases, in these 26Q, it's only a response. Further, there is no notices. But there are 24Q transactions. In those 24Q transactions, it has come in both the sides. The reason is wherever the employees claim the HRA, more than 1 lakh. Wherever there is a more than 1 lakh claim is made by the employer, employee, he has to provide the landlord PAN number. So whatever the eligible HRA alone, as an employer, I should go and deduct in the annexure Form 24Q while filing the TDS returns. Always net amount means eligible HRA would reflect to that PAN to the landlord, but landlord 26AS will show only to that extent. All these days, there was no mechanism to identify whether each and every landlord is going to offer tax or not, or whether this HRA is claimed is genuine or not. We have checked like whether it is a genuine claim or ingenuine claim, everything will do. But still, system was not correlating in this transaction. So now the department has come up. Landlord will say he'll assume 20,000 per month, 2,40,000. But HRA eligibility 5,000 per month, so 60,000 will reflect in its 26. In those cases, what has happened? The landlord will assume my income is 60,000, but actually it is a 2,40,000. So it's a miscommunication on the understanding of these notices by the landlords. Majority of the landlords, they've submitted, it is wrong reported. The moment he's clicked on that TIS returns in the feedback section, it is triggered to the company to file whether it is a genuine claim or not to verify. And they've given the option to the company to file and correct their ETDS returns. So this is how the notices and n number of notices. But after verification, there is an option we can give. It is only a claimed, we can give the remarks claimed on the gross basis and the net basis. So after that, there are no further notices. We may get in future, we are not sure. And where it is visible, go to e-verification tab, log into the TAN based login. There you can see pending options, e-proceeding and reporting portal. If you go to the reporting portal, you can submit your response. There will be various transactions. For each and every transaction, I can go and submit my transaction, a report. Here you can see like submit report. And if you are already submitted, view and response history. In couple of cases, 2-3 notices, it is triggered for the same query. So that is the reason response history I can go and see. And this is one set of notices based on your ETDS return filing. And there are further other notices, 276B. It's a prosecution notices. It's like the taxpayer, the deductor has deducted the TDS and not remitted to the central government account because it is a government money. It's misutilization of funds, we can say, or government funds is utilized during the business. So in those cases, department has the power to issue the prosecution notices in that minimum 3 months, and it may be extended to 7 years, free food and bed facility in the department. So earlier, almost I could not able to, it's yearly 1 or 2 cases we could see the 26Q, the 276B transactions. But nowadays, in the last year itself, almost some 5 to 6 notices, we received the prosecution notices. Either way, it is notices has come. We made a justification, submissions, everything. There is no issue with respect to the prosecution. And there is a mechanism to compounding offense. And I'm not going to deal that 276B prosecution proceedings in detail, in which what scenarios it is a mandatory to levy the penalty prosecution, and in which scenarios it cannot be levied, and which scenarios we can be compounding. That we are not covering in this today. And there are 133.6 notices. What is this 133.6 notices? There is no time limit, unfortunately. So in that 133.6 notices, the TAN jurisdictional officer, not the PAN jurisdictional officer, only the TAN jurisdictional officer. He just taken the database, because once he enter into the TAN, he can get to know what is the details. What is TDS liability from this assessee in the last 23-24 financial year. And 23-24, let's say 1 crore is the TDS liability for all 3-4 quarters put together. And in this year, 25-26, 24-25 financial year, till Q3, your liability TDS remittance itself is a 25 lakhs. So that has triggered a notice issue to the notices, because for all the whole year, 1 crore TDS is remitted. But for the current year, 3 quarters is already completed and he has remitted only 25 lakhs. So what is the reason? And they've started issuing the notices, and this notice looks like this. It is very general only, and they're following assessing name, DIN number is mandatory, TAN is mandatory, date is mandatory. And then they started issuing the notices. They can issue normally 3 notices. First reminder, second reminder, and third reminder. So this is how it looks. And after third reminder, if I'm not responded, assessing, what is the consequences? That is again different chapter. So there, what has happened? It is like department has the power to conduct survey, and that survey also can convert into search, anything. So that is one part. So we are not going to detail of it. And then there is a 201 notices. And this 201 notices is also triggered based on your tax audit reports, class 21 and class 34, where we report the TDS deductions were made and not remitted. And there is a shortfall of TDS. By considering that, this 201 notices are showing up, and this notice looks in this manner. It is here, you can get to know that what is the notice, Chopra's notice, and date, the numbers, and then this. This is relating to 2017-18 financial year. Here also it is subjective, and compiling the data what is required in the notice, and then accordingly I can make the submissions. And here in this case, just hint to the representative what we can say. Just be careful in the tax audit report class 21 and 34 while submitting. You might have reported as a provisions where you are not deducted the TDS. That provisions would have already reversed in the subsequent year, and that provisions you would have got the actual invoices. In those actual invoices, you can comply to the TDS. So this is how it works. So take the clause 21 and 34 workings at the time of tax audit. Take that what is the provisions made, and when it is reversed that entries, chart down everything, and what is actual invoice received, date of actual invoice received, and date of submission. So based on this, it is going to, it is happened, the proceedings has closed, but this is how the representation. And there is one more notice. They just send one notice stating that in your own case, there is a tax demand outstanding, so much. Please pay within 7 days. If you are not paying these 7 days, and it is February and March, the collection month. So the department is started going and attaching the bank accounts. You might have seen many these kind of notices under normal PAN demands, where they will issue the stay. You would have filed the stay order, but stay order would have not accepted. So in the similarly, in the TDS department, TDS under TAN also, they've started issuing these kind of notices. In these cases, simple, just need to go to the ETDS return, log into the portal. First, identify what are the type of demands. Here we don't know anything, but at least in the subsequent year, we can get to know. It is relating to this financial year, and it is because of short deduction or lower deduction or whatever be the case. So in those cases, the correction will come into picture. So till now, these are the notices, and one more notice, term correction. I'll deal it in the separately. We'll go to Form 26 QB. Here it is very, at the time of introduction, it shows it's a only 1% of TDS. And after implementing this section, it got to know what are the implications. As per this section 194 IA, any person is purchasing an immovable property value more than 50 lakhs should comply with the TDS provisions. What is that? 1%. And then it's a 26 QB online. I can just file online and generate the challan, remit, and file the returns. And the Form 26 QB has to be filed within 30 days from the end of the month in which TDS is deducted. There is only one exception if it is only the agricultural land. If I'm purchasing the agricultural land, irrespective of value, if it is more than 50 lakhs or less than 50 lakhs, I no need to comply with that, because sale and purchase of agricultural land, either way it is out of tax. It's a tax-free income. TDS has to be deducted at the time of credit or payment, whichever is earlier. This scenario we'll discuss about in the case of advance payment. Many cases we'll see first I'll pay down payment today, and then next it is year on year I should pay. For filing the 26 QB, what exactly the details is required? These are the general information, and most of the cases will miss in any one detail. It is missing in this. You can't proceed further because majority are in the star marks in that. Seller name, PAN, address, email, and mobile number. Similarly, buyers and address of the immovable property. And the funniest part here is address of immovable property where you are purchasing, including the PIN code and stamp duty value and consideration paid. Some cases stamp duty value is higher than the consideration, and every transaction is consideration is higher than the stamp duty value. It's a reverse scenario. It's only when in special cases we'll deal how to do. And mode of payment, check, DD, NEFT, cash it won't accept. Type of payment, lump sum or installment, and date of payment or credit, amount paid. These are the details. Because cash, the builder or contractor will accept, but the reporting will be a 269 is like SFT return filing is come into picture. So for the time being, we are not dealing on the cash. We'll assume everything is in the net banking transaction. So these are the major transactions. This is the information is required to file the 26 QB. And the practical issues. So the limit is 50 lakhs. Obviously, I wanted to register a property in my wife's name jointly so that I can reduce less than for 50 lakhs. So 40 lakhs, 80 lakhs of the property, I need not to comply. Or there will be a two sellers, 80 lakhs is that, and 40 lakhs, they don't want to comply that. So by seeing all these anomalies, the department has come up in the Finance Act 2024. They've given the clarification. If any property value is exceeding 50 lakhs, you should comply with the TDS, irrespective of your number of transferors and transferees. So most of the cases we are seeing this day in, day out. So for you to identify it is like, what is the total value of the property? This is one scenario. So total value of the property is exceeded 50 lakhs. I'll just go and comply to the TDS returns. Sorry, 26 QB. Then there is one more. Stamp duty value is 50 lakhs, but you are complying to the TDS, you are registering the property at 45 lakhs. Again, there is one more question. So either way, it is value of the property is not exceeding 50 lakhs. Should I consider or not? So to give a clarity, Even if the stamp duty value is exceeding 50 lakhs and the sale consideration is less than 50 lakhs, still I can go and the TDS provision under section form 26 QB filing is mandatory. So these are the major scenarios where we can see. So for us, thumb rule is if the property value is exceeding 50 lakhs, that's all. So the 26 QB filing is applicable. And here it's a very simple process, provided you should have all the information what we discussed in the previous slide. Log into the individual or whoever it is, buyer has to comply, right? So log into the portal and start submitting PAN-based e-filing portal, because there is a confusion. There are TAN-based login, PAN-based login. So that is the reason I'm using the PAN-based login. And go to ePay. Under e-file, there is an option to call the ePay taxes, and it will take you to the payment. Post that, you can fill the details. You can see here, I think, 26 QB TDS on sale of property. So if you click on this, it will take you to the next, what all the DDS, what all the information is required to. And after filling, we can start filing make the payment, submit to the banker and file it. And here, it's a human intervention. Again, I do the mistake. Instead of entering 10 lakhs, instead of entering 10 lakhs advance, I'll enter 1 crore. That can be rectified. Instead of entering PAN, it's all our manual records. So buyer PAN and seller PAN. So I should keep, and I should enter the details. While entering again, there is a mistake. And financial year. Instead of entering the financial year as 24-25, I've entered as 23-24. And date of payment. Instead of 29th January, I've entered the 29th October. Instead of 01, 110, 10. So all these errors can be rectified. Wherever there is a human intervention, it's a possible. So that is the reason slowly, gradually, entire TDS proceeding is becoming an online, because challan creation, challan payment, submission of the notices, everything is becoming online. But still, it is changing. These are the issues. But there are certain points we should remember while filing the rectification. Post submission of the file application, it should be verified. Many of the transactions, if you see, it is only the individuals. They may not be having the DSC. So the DSC or net banking utility, I can just make the submission activation. But only this portion of the rectification is not possible to the non-resident taxpayers. This we don't have any option. And here it is only a pictorial presentation, how to submit the correction for the form 26 QB. Here I don't want to spend much time. It is only just log into your taxpayer login, user ID, password, and the PAN of the taxpayer. Enter this general information. Only where you can see is statement and forms, request for the correction. There you should submit. As we discussed, entire information like address of the buyer, seller, property details, buyer details, seller detail, property, and amount paid, everything, including the financial year, assessment year, amount. So this I'll save and then submit to the correction statement. These are the details. Edit, amount I can edit, and these are the details. And once all I update, I'll just go and submit to this for the rectification. So till here it is a rectification and there are refunds. Yes, in the income tax, we can still get the refunds. Not only the payment of taxes. And what are the scenarios? It's a genuine case. I have completed the transaction, I've entered into a transaction, but the deal is got cancelled, some reason, unwanted reasons. So I don't have any option. I should submit to the refund. But there are some places, instead of entering 1 lakh, I would have entered as 10 lakhs. It's human error. So in those cases, I can still go and apply for the refund 26 QB, but only there are few conditions. If it is a DSC, in the case of corporates, DSC can be used for the submission. And in the case of individuals, I can use only the Aadhaar OTP. And minimum refund amount should be more than 100 rupees. So because department I'm involved in this, so less than 100 rupees, department will not entertain you to give the refunds. And refund requests can be made in the online. And amount what is eligible should not cross the claim. So claim, in this my example, 1 lakh. Instead of 1 lakh, 10 lakhs is limited. These cases is happened. So 9 lakhs. I should go and claim from the department stating that these are the scenarios. Instead of entering 1 lakh, and this is the sale date, this is the challan, I've entered into 10 lakh. So submit the details and the department will verify and then probably issue the details. Yes, just because you made a claim, it doesn't mean that you'll get a refund. There is a possibility there is a rejection as well. What are the scenarios? Request will be rejected by the JAO or refund banker in the case of invalid bank accounts. In the traces portal, while registering, we would have given the wrong bank account details, or AO would have not processed. Our request will be rejected in the case of change in the maximum refund amount allowed. In my example, instead of 9 lakhs claiming, I have entered 9,50,000 because your eligibility is only 9 lakhs. You remitted 10 lakhs, but out of that 1 lakh is liable to pay to the TDS. So in those cases, officer can request a reject. And the challan correction, you would have submitted the challan correction. That may be for the, let us say, financial year. Instead of using the 23-24, you have used the challan as financial year 22-23. So that challan correction you submitted, but still that is in pending. In those scenarios also, it is not rejected. And the request will be rejected in the case of challan matching. Or is there any demands outstanding? Against to the PAN, the applicant's PAN, there is a demand. Or against to any sort of demands are there. EO has the power to reject the application. Yes, you complied with all the provisions. No bank account is validated and refund is determined, PAN demands are 0 and no demands at all. And no correction pending is pending. In those cases, assessing officer will verify all these refunds should go to the TAN officer, not to the income tax PAN officer. Just relating to the TDS, just be remember only to the TAN jurisdictional officer. So after verification, he can approve it, but still the validation or refund status, you can still see that as a pending, because as soon as the department is approved, assessing officer is approved, it should go to the TDS CPC traces. So TDS help desk, TDS CPC has to approve that for first. Then only it will come to your bank. Once the refund comes to your bank, banker also should accept. In some cases, banker will reject because PAN and the bank KYC is not completed. These all are happening. So ensure that your KYC should be updated, bank account details should be updated in the portal. And again, here it is only a procedure how to submit the refund. I don't want to take much time on this. Here also just log into the portal, traces portal, and go for the refund statement and form, request for the refund. Here we can see 26 QB, 26 QC, 26 QD, various challans. Mr. and Mrs. Rama has purchased house from the Mr. and Mrs. Ananda. The total value of the property is 60 lakhs. Sellers have the equal right in the property, 30 lakhs each. So we see here 30 lakhs, and we'll say TDS is not applicable to deduct. That was the wrong notion. We should see the total transaction, the value of the total transaction is 60 lakhs. So the moment it crosses the 50 lakhs, it is bound to deduct the TDS, comply with the TDS. So here the buyers, both the parties in the equal ratio should comply to the TDS returns. So I'll just go to the next slide. You can see the answer for this. Yeah, this is how I just made it. Mr. and Mrs. Rama both has to file that Form 26 QB. Because in my example, I've taken first installment 20 lakhs and the balance installment at the time of registration in the happened in December 10 lakhs. So 10 lakhs, first they will do the TDS on the 1%. And then after that, at the time of registration, December month, 30th January is the due date. Within 30 days, I should comply to the TDS Form 26 QB filing. So I should file this. It is simple like 139AA, intimation of Aadhaar number, like Aadhaar and the PAN linking. I don't want to take much time on this. Whatever the PAN which you are applying for now, it is coming as a auto. We should give the Aadhaar and PAN, then only this PAN is generating. But prior to 2017, any Aadhaar or any PAN is applied, it's a mandatory to attach your PAN, link with the PAN. Otherwise, it will be treated as a invalid or inoperative. That is how. So that is the reason we have seen the circulars. And initially it was 31st March 2022. You should link your PAN and Aadhaar. Then they have extended till 31st May 2024. They have extended. After that also, if it is not happened, we don't have any option. We should pay the 1,000 rupees penalty. That steps also I just showed you. And many cases still as on today, I'm able to see there is a TDS demands is because of the PAN errors. There are various reasons that we can deal it separately. And however, there are few exceptions. Income tax, always it is like exceptions. There are one after other. So if any residing in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, Meghalaya and Assam, they need not to link. Non-residents option, no, they can't obtain the Aadhaar, so it is exception. Aged 80 years or more, so they need not to. And not a citizen of India, NRIs. So those cases, linking is not mandatory. And consequences, if you are not linking the PAN and Aadhaar, this also I don't want to take much time. So it is like, assume it is a rental transaction. 10% is the TDS you should do. But double that finance, double the rate of TDS. So instead of 10%, 20% I'll deduct. And in the case of 194C, the maximum is 1% or 2%. In those cases, it will go to the 5%. So it is mandatory. And here many of us will get the doubt. I've linked my PAN is inoperative, but I've activated now, paid the fees, late filing fee, and PAN and Aadhaar is linked. Due to certain reasons, I have not done. So can I go back and correct my TDS return, or can I claim the more TDS, what is deducted as 20%? Even if you do the PAN and Aadhaar linking, it can be considered only the prospective link. It's not the retrospective. The day when you link your PAN and Aadhaar, from that date, it has become the operative. So in our example, 29th January, you are linking. From today, your PAN is operative. And from the period that 1st June 2024 till date, your PAN is inoperative. Any transaction is made in this period, you will have to suffer higher rate of TDS. So is there any option? Because it is in the same financial year, your PAN has become operative. The TDS credit will be there 20%. While filing the ETDS return, you can offer the entire income, claim the higher deduction of TDS, whatever it is made, and take the TDS credit in your tax returns. Relaxation, I think it is covered already. 6/2024 has given extension. and that is extended till 31st March, but again they were extended till 31st May for PAN and linking Aadhaar. And during this period, any liability for inoperative PAN and operative PAN, if you had already linked your PAN and Aadhaar, if you submit the correction statement online, department is nullifying. If you are not submitting the correction statement, department is ready to collect from you. PAN and Aadhaar linking procedure, this either way it is a simple, I'll just skip this. And in the income tax portal itself, you have, instead of login to the portal, you have link Aadhaar. So you should enter PAN and Aadhaar. It will continue and it will ask that to pay. Here, many of us will do the mistake. Be attentive and be careful while submitting this assessment year and type of payment. Many of us will just select assessment year will select correctly, but type of payment, instead of other receipts, I'll just submit only a just interest or penalty or fees. So these scenarios also is happen in couple of cases where they've remitted 1,000 rupees. Instead of remitting in one tab, they've remitted in another tab. So again, I should go to the department to collect the 1,000 rupees, correct the 1,000 rupees challan and then to link it. It's a cumbersome activity. For 1,000 rupees, we need to incur 3-4 visits to the department. And how to submit the PAN and Aadhaar linking request post payment of fees. In the login, once if you log into the portal, left hand side you can see in your profile, link PAN and Aadhaar. You can submit. And this is before logging also one more, there is an option to link to your Aadhaar. And 206 AB and 206 CCA, TDS and TCS, so it's a like specified person. Who is specified person is defined under section 206 AB and 206 CCA. They've clearly told if any person is not filed his income tax returns for the preceding previous year. So last 2 years return if he is not submitted and where his TDS credit is exceeding 1 lakh 50,000, in those cases it can be treated as a specified person. So what is the consequences? Again, higher rate of TDS is applicable. Whether PAN and Aadhaar linking need to be done for new applicants, it is, as we discussed, whatever I'm applying now, I'll go with the Aadhaar based itself. So there is no specific link in this. What is the TDS rate applicable for not linking Aadhaar with PAN for payments made under section 194Q? Any answers for this? At least it should not be like one way. Just post it in your chat box. 194Q. 194Q TDS itself is a
The
0.1.
chat box is enabled now. You can give your answers.
Yes, 5%. There is only 20% is there, so I don't take that question. It's only a 5%. Maximum is 5%. Yeah, here also TDS is to be deducted higher of 5% and not 20%. Here it is little tricky. I'll just change it. I don't take much time on this. ABC Limited is making payment of 10 lakhs to a professional. And Mr. X is a very irresponsible in filing his tax returns, so he has not complied with filing the tax returns. So what is the tax rate? Here, any answers? Yeah, Perfect. 20%. Reason is it is higher of the tax rate as specified in the Finance Act. 194(j) is 10%. Double the rate is 20%. So here little tricky. He is not a professional. He is a contractor. Will it have any impact on your answer? Still, it is 20%. Ten, 25, no. So still 20%. See here 194(c) contract payment, the TDS is 2%, 1%. He's an individual in our example. So the maximum rate as fixed in the 206 AB is 5%. So it's not a 20%, it's only a 5%. Okay. This is only a just classification, whether the party is specified as a C or not, just to identification. And steps to do compliance check. So in any time when you are filing the ETDS returns, it is our responsibility to check whether this particular PAN is a operative PAN or inoperative PAN or is a specified person. So we would recommend, like this is also has become a tax audit checklist. Any particular transaction will take the confirmation from the customers, service providers, stating that whether you are a specified person. How do you determine that? Whether 23, 24 or 24, 25 financial returns is filed within the due date or not. So in those scenarios, there are various scenarios we just listed here. You just see that whether the returns for the last 2 years is filed or not, and the TDS credit is in that particular year is crossing 50,000. If he says yes for both, he has become a specified person because he has not filed a return. So just keep that, and before deducting the TDS, you communicate and deduct at higher rate of TDS. So next question what we'll get, how do I check that whether particular PAN is a specified person or not? Yes, for that also department has given a tool. Just you need to go to your income tax portal by using the TAN credentials. And we are more familiar now with the income tax portal. There is a title bar. Under that title bar, you can go to pending actions under reporting portal. There it will show you the various screens. Submit to the registration, new registration, and check on the compliance check. It will ask the general information like the authorized person and company information, PAN, address, those details you just add it and enter the PAN details. It will give you whether he's a specified person or authorized person. So with this, at least my data is clear. All challans I kept it at one place. My TDS PAN operative and inoperative PANs is kept it at one place. And wherever there is a specified person, I've already intimated to the customers and asked them to deduct the higher rate of TDS. So while filing the ETDS returns, it will become the error free. But in the scenario, we have situation where we should require to file the revised ETDS return. So that is the reason I just wanted to cover first compliance check, PAN operative and PAN inoperative, and then what are the transactions it required to comply with the TDS. So this material is given for you to prepare for corrections. On the 206 AB and 206 CA, specified person and tax rate applicability, any queries are there? I think we solved enough questions. So we can go to the revision of ETDS returns. I just use the word as TCS returns also. It is similar, whatever the TDS returns, it is also is a kind of TCS return. So no issue on that. Even though we are not covering separately as a TCS returns, but it is also a part of it. So any ETDS returns, like wherever we are filing as a, again here manual intervention. So there are errors, there may be an error, it's going to be an error. It can't be an error free. But the revision can be made in two types. One is online request and offline request. So when I'm doing for any kind of rectification or revision, it requires justification report. The justification report gives from the portal stating that what is the nature of demand. Is it because of the PAN error or is it because of the short deduction of TDS? Because instead of deducting 194C, 194J, I would have deducted the TDS as a 194C. But reporting I would have made it as 194J, short deduction. There is a ETDS lower deduction of certificates are there. Lower deduction rate says 2%, not as a 10%. But unfortunately, I forgot that. No, I complied. I considered the 2% by seeing the lower deduction certificate relating to 194J transaction. But while filing the ETDS return, I forgot to enter the justification like ETDS lower deduction certificate number. Earlier, they're giving only the one notice, but now it is each deductive wise, they're giving the unique number. I forgot to enter into ETDS return. That lead to your liability. Or lower deduction number also you have quoted. Lower deduction TDS amount is entered correctly. Rate also is entered correctly. Certificate is already consumed. So your customer has obtained the lower deductions, assuming with you there is a transactions of 20 lakhs in this year. But you billed him 30 lakhs. Over and above, the lower deduction certificate is valid till reaching your 20%, 20 lakhs. So any transactions made within that period, 1 rupee to 20 lakhs transaction, it can be treated as 2% lower deduction. And over and above, there also enter the lower deduction certificate number and enter the transaction detail. But the 20 lakhs, 1 rupee to 30 lakhs, the TDS rate will be 10%, not as a 2%. So these are the various corrections we can just see. I'll just take you through one by one. It was asked in the section 200 intimation summary. This is how it looks. So here it says like TAN and company name, token number, it is like ETDS return number and form type. I think it is little difficult to see, but the essence of this notice is it is like 143(1) intimation. It says like as reported by the taxpayer, as computed by the tax authority, CPC. Similarly, as reported and what is the liability under short deduction, short remittance, non-operative PAN, late filing fees, interest on short deduction, interest on late payment. This is how it gives the details. So this is the report is a basis for us to work on the next steps. Contents of the justification report. It contains in this manner. Short deduction, PAN inoperative. In case of PAN is inoperative, that time there may be a question. And short payment of insufficient challan. So here again, challan you might have having the same value. Let's say example 1 lakh. But the transaction value would have entered 10 lakhs. So insufficient challan. So in those cases also it will come. PAN verification, I think we have covered it is already. So it is mandatory. You should verify your PAN before submission of ETDS returns. Just make a checkpoint. And interest on late payment. As we saw, it is date of transaction and the date of remittance. Based on that, it is computed. Why do we need to file the revised ETDS returns? As we communicated, it is like TDS statements with a wrong PAN number or unexpected TDS amount. Instead of 1 lakh for the particular PAN, it is given as a 10 lakhs. So the other party, obviously, he will go and tell that it's not my income. And then unexpected use of currency. Instead of INR ETDS returns while filing the domestic ETDS returns, I would have entered the USD currency. So in those cases, I can just go and correct the ETDS returns. This one flow chart, I can take little more time, and then all other slides, I think it is same. So correction process flow chart, online and offline. So any TDS returns, when we are filing, there are screens. Each different screens will be there. C1, particular C1 is a deductor screen. It is a deductor screen, means the taxpayer, whoever is filing the ETDS returns. When he is filing the ETDS return, he can change anything like address and PIN code, email, and transaction details, everything. But he cannot change the TAN number because TAN is a mandatory. There is no option of change the TAN number. It's for lifetime, it is a 1. The same manner what PAN will be using similarly until unless the company liquidation or company closure or surrender of the TAN. So the first screen talks about deductor information. And the next screen is a deductor and a challan screens. So in those, I can just go and change number of deductors. Instead of 10 deductors, I can just go and tell it is only a 8 or challan. In previous example, one of the queries is asked, the challan is first is 100 rupees and later it is remitted as 1 lakh. So I can go and change the challan, add challan, delete, modify, everything I can do that. Even C3 also, deduction detail, deduction screen. So to whom I'm giving the TDS credit. So in those also, instead of giving 1 lakh, I've given the 10 lakh. Or instead of giving X, I would have given it to Y. These details I can give. And use the deductor and our salary screen. Here it is little difficult. C5 and C4 is a salary screen. See, every quarter ETDS returns, I'll just file only a normal monthly ETDS return, quarterly ETDS return for the salary. But only in the Q4, I should give in detail transactions. What is a gross salary and what is deductions, eligible deductions, and what is the deductions is available. Then only I'm able to generate form 16. Otherwise, the wrong will happen. So there, instead of adding one company employees, I've added other company employees. Obviously, name is there, PAN number is there, but only the value instead of X limited, Y limited values has gone and sat into TDS returns. So in those cases, I have an option to change entire deductive information and file the online submission, offline submission. And then use the challan and deduction detail screen. So here also I no need to explain here. It is similar to the deductor information. And next, this procedure is as soon as you are done with these screens, and it is only a matter of submission. So the submission, generating the FUV file and uploading it. In case if it is an offline, form 27A, or it is online by using the DSC, you can submit the correction details. Type of TDS corrections in TDS returns. So this is what I was referring. first screen, I can change everything. Name, in the case of companies, name is changed, but TAN is same. Designation of the authorized person, everything I can change it, but except the TAN number. And challan correction. Challan correction also is a very simple. I can change financial year. I can change minor code, major code, challan details. Sorry, in this challan details, wrong challan serial number. In the bank details, in the challan number, BSR code or date I have entered. These details I can give. Yeah. Again here, I can change challan serial number, challan date, and wrong challan number. Everything I can change. But TAN number I cannot change here. So is there any way to correct the TAN number? Right now, I'm going to the Traces TAN portal. I'll generate the challan, remit. I'm talking last financial year, before July. I think July 2024 onwards, July 2023 onwards, it has become all online. So prior to that, I've submitted the challan to the banker. Banker has, instead of entering one TAN, he has entered into different TAN. How do we correct? Any possibilities to correct this? And obviously, this is not going to correct online. It's only offline. Any? Okay. Due to paucity of time, let us not think on that. The TAN correction also is possible with the assessing authorities. But here, the issue here, first you should identify where is this credit has gone. That is a challenge. So it's a practical case where I handled the amount involved is 9,50,000. So what has happened? First, we identify the challan details. Means we wrote to the banker to ask him where is this credit has gone. He has given it is gone to the RBI account. And then banker confirmation letter we have taken. Then submitted to the jurisdictional officer stating that what all the changes is required. Majorly the TAN is required and the bank transaction details given it to the JO. And then first I identified where this money has gone and whose TAN, how to identify. That is a challenge. So normally we can't identify that until unless you have a rapport with the jurisdictional officer. So I sat with the income tax officer. He has given the details. This has given credit to ABC Limited. Means he has given the TAN number. The moment he identified the transaction in his database, he has given that it has given it to NOC. Then to give this transfer of this TDS credit, he has asked to give the NOC from the party and affidavit. In my case, he has not asked the affidavit, but he has asked to obtain the NOC. NOC also I just made it. Luckily, thanks to Google, I can just see that details. I enter the TAN number and company name. I could find out the address of the party where the TDS credit has gone. We wrote to that party. He has cooperated. Maybe luck is good. And he has given the credit, like stating that we don't have any objection of transferring this credit, TDS credit. It's a simple contents. I have not complicated anywhere the submissions because was first one letter, one email I wrote to banker where this money has gone. Second, I wrote to the officer, sir, this is the banker confirmation. It is credited to RBI account. Please help me, and this is the correct TAN number. So the TAN, luckily officer also is helped to identify where this TAN has gone. Then we approach to the party where it has come, asking the NOC, stating that this money is not relating to our transaction. We don't have any objection of shifting this. So based on that NOC, we have submitted to the again jurisdictional officer. Even though this entire process has taken 2.5 months, but actual working is only like one to coordinate with the banker to get the details. And one more time, it is a transaction details to identify, stating that which TAN it is credited and to get invoice from the other party. So hardly it is 1 week to 10 days time. So officer has given the TDS, he changed the details and he has given already the TDS credit. And based on that, we have filed the revised ETDS returns. And these are only a simple format. I just kept it. It may be useful when in case if you are having the same issue. Yeah, here except PAN, we can use this C3 correction. So deductee name I can change, amount I can change, rate of TDS and TDS amount and LDC update limit. So I've already taken these details and this is how the procedure to be adopted. But only one point I just wanted to highlight. I think here it is amount. Okay, in the next slide. Yeah, this is how the TDS and 24Q. Like in my previous example, instead of uploading the employees information of ABC Limited, I've uploaded the XYZ Limited employees. I can use this screens 4 to provide the correct deductee information and file the ETDS return, revised ETDS return. And these are the corrections. It is available only online. Challan corrections, as we saw, everything I can change except TAN, but TAN also there is an exception. I can go to the jurisdiction level, but here jurisdiction AO in the sense TAN is always TAN officer, not as a PAN officer. That you should mind. So challan corrections, PAN corrections, add deductee details and change deductee details, add or delete salary details and interest under section 220, changes in the personal information. This entire thing, I can do it only online. And what is the use of it? So at least I need not to waste my time for the processing and I no need to wait to use for the outside agency to file the offline returns. So entire thing with the help of DSC, I can just file the online corrections. Here, C9, allowed, add or modify challan and deductive details. Here I can add challan, I can add deductive, I can modify challan, and I can modify deductives. In simple understanding, I can add A instead of B. I can add the challan. Instead of challan number 1, I can change it to challan number 2. So this is how addition and deletion, and this screen is be used for the corrections. And challan corrections, here it is all the details. This is how it looks. And modify deductive details, this is also similar. I can just do, yeah. Defaults, short deduction. It may be happening due to PAN error, or it may be wrong claim of 197, or due to mistake in the direction of tax at source. Because instead of entering 2%, I would have entered at the 10%. And short TDS defaults due to PAN errors, short TDS deduction and defaults. PAN errors, and as we are aware, it's quoting of wrong PAN or inoperative PAN or specified PAN. So in those cases, in the case of PAN, if he's validating his PAN before 31st May 2024, I can go and submit in the online. That demand will nullify, and it is happened in one of our case, and there is a substantial relief we got. And there are still some more. We are exploring other options, like maybe submitting to the CBDT to give the extension, or there may be a possibility to request jurisdictional level to nullify those demands. And short TDS deduction defaults, it's whatever I discussed till now, I just put it into one slide in a flowchart format. So I can skip, and this is also similar. And Volta's challan correction, as I mentioned, financial year I can change, minor head I can change, major head I can change, section code also I can change, except section 195. Only for the 195 I cannot change in the online. The procedure also, I just kept it here. Log into the traces, select online Voltas challan option, enter these challan details, select required tab to be rectified and submitted. And after 3 to 5 days, check the track correction. According to me, it may not take even 3 to 5 days. In 24 hours or 48 hours, it is appearing in this. But as a safer side, I just kept it. Assume you submitted on Friday. So Saturday, Sunday department will not work. So I've just kept it as 3 to 5 days. And this is the challan correction details and general information like as head, minor head, major head, section, except 195 section. So after submission, this is how it looks. Means after correction, this is the financial year. In this financial year, I have not changed. TAN also I have not changed. Only the minor head, major head, section code I have changed it. And know your consumption of challan details. Why do we need at all this? Like know your KYC. In the similar manner, first, if I wanted to consume any challan, I should know for which all the years this challan has been used. This all will be helpful when, if you remember in these initial slides, I've shown there is a department notice stating that there are the outstanding demands. So those years I can identify if there is any unconsumed challan in that year. Assume 17-18 there is a notice demand, but challan is also available for the 17-18 or 16-17. In those cases, I can just offset to that challan unconsumed amount, and rest of the balance amount only I can ask the party to make the payment. This only just to identify which period which challan is available. Here, while discussion, I'm just getting one more doubt. So I read somewhere TDS can be carried forward, like challan can be consumed 1 year prior and 1 year later. So in this case, I just wanted to brief you that condition is only applicable for filing the original return, not for the revised return. When you are filing the revised return, example, you have unconsumed challan for the period 2018-19, but you are revising the Q3 return of 24-25, but still you can go and utilize that challan. So we may be having that 1 year prior and 1 year later. Means in my example 2017-18 means I have a time either 16-17 or 18-19 to be consumed. But here only this condition is applicable only for the first original return, and subsequent whenever you are doing the rectification, that condition will not applicable. And DSA registration portal. So this is normal DSC, and only the one condition is you should have the PAN authorized signatory and the PAN of the DSC should be same. If any one of the thing it is not matching, you'll get an error message here. And in this case, one more point. Again, I'm getting doubt now. So while filing the Q1 returns, there was a CFO by name A, and there is a change. He's an authorized person. Now I wanted to, there is a change in the CFO B. Whether he can any Q1 returns to change or to utilize, should I use only for the ADSC or BDSC? Here also, I don't want to take much time. I'll only explain. because only A, we cannot use the ADS because he's no more in associated with the company. So that is the reason I should update the details, DSC, authorized signatory details to B limited, B person, and then to submit for the corrections. And once the DSC is registered, you will get a successful registered screen here like this. And here I just summarized for which one to correct. Is it required DSC and it is not required for the DSC. Yeah, again here one more interesting. Here also refunds I can claim, TDS. Is there any possibility to get the refunds? Yes, here also the similar conditions. And this refund claim is possible from the financial year 2007-8, and challan refund, the challan consumption should not be less than 100 rupees, and there should not be a PAN demand, there should not be a TAN demand, and at a time I can submit only 5 challans. And the same condition of 26 QB, refund claim should not exceed the challan availability, and claim and processing of challan is mandatory because I would have submitted any challan correction. That should not be pending. So the challan processing or challan collection should be completed. And here also I just made it as, this is also is an online submission. Go to your traces portal and make the submissions in this form. This also I'll just run through, either way you'll be getting the PPT. Here also the same conditions, like there should not be a PAN and TAN, and within 14 days after submission of this refund application, I should go and submit to the jurisdictional level. Jurisdictional level will verify, and then he will has the power to approve or reject or to call for the additional information. See, one way TDS mechanism is entire thing is online, but still it is a offline, some portion, because making the application, if you take lower deduction online, if you submit the refunds online, but to go for the refund approval, it's offline. So it is hybrid, but over gradually they may still reduce entire thing to visit to the department. But there are peculiar cases, as I mentioned, TAN in the challan, that system will not understand, only the officer will understand. So those scenarios will deal it separately. So those conditions, if you are satisfied, the refund will credit to the registered bank account. Yes, whether it is possible, whether it is claimed, yes, it is possible. And required information for reset user ID and password. So here also I don't want to spend much time. Log into the traces portal. It will ask the certain questions like name, details, designation, and the challan, other information. So those details I need to add it. Then to submit for the submission in the forget password. These are the steps, because KYC I should give, RRR number, and how to reset the user ID if you forget the same. This has happened recently. If you remember, one of the demand, in your case, there is a demand is outstanding. That's all we got it. And the company is merged with one more entity, and the company does not in existence. So what we did, we contacted to the AO and requested on the process, and we submitted in the online procedure. Reset user ID, password, and recent updates in the TDS. Majority it is covered. So in that case, what I wanted to tell, it is a more than 5 years, I cannot file the ETDS returns. Rectification, it is not possible. And one more clarification, if there is any mistakes which needs to be corrected, deductor can submit correction statements. This simple normal correction statement through traces, and there is no time limit, and this is how the procedure. And there are few changes in that TDS rates. What is the present rate and what is the proposed rate have considered. And there is couple of changes wherever the partnership firm is withdrawing in the form of salary, remuneration, commission, bonus, or interest in any means. Aggregate of 20,000, you should comply with the TDS, 10% of TDS and 194T. It's similar to 194J. And 194IA, it is a clarification. There is a ambiguity if the two buyers are two sellers and each transaction is less than 50 lakhs, whether should we do or not. They've come up with the clarification stating that if the total transaction value is exceeding 50 lakhs, irrespective of the number of deductor, transferers and transferees, you have to complete the TDS. And 197 scope is increased. It's a lower deduction. Wherever the loss-making companies and refund claim companies, you can suggest this. And 194Q, it's only 0.1%, but still they've brought into lower deduction certificates now. Means the department may issue 0% TDS in these cases. And we got the 0 rate also. And then 200, section 200 says it is a time limit. After expiry of the 5 years time, 6 years, sorry, 6 years, I cannot file the revision of ATDS returns. Thanks for this opportunity for the KSCAA, Kaushik and Prashant for this opportunity, for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge on this field.
On behalf of Karnataka State Chartered Accountant Association, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Navkanth for taking the time to share his invaluable insights on today's topic. His expertise and in-depth analysis have provided great clarity to our members and attendees, addressing key concerns and enriching our understanding. We truly appreciate the efforts and dedication he has put into delivering this session and for patiently answering our queries. His knowledge and practical approach have made this discussion more engaging and informative. A sincere thanks to you, to all of our esteemed members, participants, and organizers for making this event a success. Your enthusiasm and active participation are what makes these sessions meaningful. Once again, thank you, Navkant, for the valuable contribution, and we look forward to more such interactions in future. Wishing everyone a wonderful evening. Thank you.